Muhami Matters with Chris Adams, powered by CJA Consulting.
Welcome to Muhami Matters, where credibility meets clarity in legal and professional services. I'm your host, Chris Adams, founder of Muhami and CJA Consulting. Today, we're cutting through the noise around artificial intelligence. AI is everywhere, but for most service-based businesses, the real question is, where do I even start? To help answer that, I'm joined by Youssef Tawfik, a software engineer turned automation strategist, and the founder of Revy, an agency helping businesses simplify operations and improve client experience using smart, practical AI. In this episode, we're going to explore how AI can save time, reduce cost, and sharpen service delivery without the jargon or the hype. We're going to talk about what makes a business ready for AI, the tools that Youssef recommends again and again, and the client success stories that prove what's possible. So whether you're a consultant, a lawyer, a coach, or a creative, if you provide a service and you want to stay ahead of the curve, this one's for you. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hey, Youssef, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Chris, for having me. Very excited to talk to everyone today.
So let's start with you. Give us a little bit about your background and what you do at Revy.
So I'm a software engineer by trade. I have a background in software engineering, and I worked in Fortune 500 companies for a while. But yeah, that corporate lifestyle didn't work for me, and then I had to, transition into the entrepreneurship lifestyle, where basically I started my own company. We started Revy, and as you mentioned, embraced it, very, very well. We help businesses automate inefficient business processes through custom software and AI automations, just making sure that they're utilizing the right technology to make sure that they are optimizing, making sure that they're reducing human-prone errors or human errors, removing redundancies, and utilizing the latest and greatest of technology, not only AI, but just custom software in general. So we are just very excited, and we love working with these small and medium-sized businesses all over the world, actually. But we mainly right now work with the United States-based companies, but we're based out of Cairo in Egypt. We have a great team of very talented developers, designers, and business developers working on bringing automated solutions to everyone around the world.
Yeah, I remember when I got introduced to you by someone, I can't even recall who it was, but I think the way they described you is it was Clay. And the way I think he described you was you take one system that won't talk to another system and just make them talk. And that's the way you summed you up. Would that be about right?
Absolutely. It's a part of it, but we absolutely do a lot more. But that's a lot of the needs of businesses nowadays, just because of a scattered tech stack or just an off-shelf solution that doesn't work well for them. That part of integration is very, very important in their day-to-day operations, but we definitely take it way further than that.
Yeah, because I just know as a small business entrepreneur, I have subscriptions to so many different things, and the integrations just either don't exist or are really manual. So I think we all need someone like you. So you work with a lot of service-based businesses, and I think I alluded to one problem that I have in particular. What other kind of problems do you find that service-based businesses are trying to solve when they first come to you?
Really, when small businesses in general, when they come to us, they're looking and seeking for how can we use technology, right? And quite recently in 2024, 2025, how we can start utilizing AI. And that's usually one of the biggest questions. I don't know if you want to get into it right now or not, but usually it's one of the main questions people come in, and they hear all the buzz. They look at ChatGPT, they hear the news. Oh, they're utilizing AI, they want to do this, they want to do that, they want to replace us, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of concerns that business owners come to us, and they really want to start utilizing it. At its point and at score, a lot of businesses are very, very behind when it comes to technology. People are trying to be in 2025, but they are still in 2005, right? They're very, very behind. And it really opens up a lot of the businesses' eyes. It's like, we need to take a second, we need to take a step back to actually review, well, what are we doing and how are we doing, right? People come to us, they come with all sorts of very, very optimistic points of views. We want AI to basically do everything for us. But when we sit down with them and really go through what they're doing at the moment, we find a lot of Excel sheets, a lot of handwritten papers, a lot of manual processes, a lot of redundancies with a lot of things with their business. And that is a great thing, that there's a lot of opportunity of growth here. Maybe not AI today, but the work for us to reach the usage of AI in their day-to-day operations is just a huge take on. And it excites us to be able to help those businesses start utilizing technology in the right way.
Okay, so people tend to come to you and say, Youssef, we want to use AI. but they don't really, from what I'm hearing from you, they don't really know what that means in practical terms. They know it's a buzzword, they know that you can use it, and maybe they've got some AI systems in place. But what do they actually need then?
Really, what they actually need is start to get their house in order. That's the most important thing, right? Let's just take a very, very simple example, right? When we're dealing with a chat GPT, you're going in, how many times it hallucinated on you, just give you some weird answers. It happened a lot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that, the quality of an LLM or a large language model responses like ChatGPT is very dependent on the information it has, the context, the prompt, the instruction, the training information. A lot of those things are one of the most important things when it comes to the quality of an LLM response. So think about it that way when it comes to your business. If you don't have your instructions, if you don't have your SOPs, if you don't have your technologies in order, then the use of AI will be very, let's just say, disconnected. It won't give you the actual power of AI. So if you're still using an Excel sheet to process your inventory, how can you allow an automated access for AI to be able to go and scan through it and give you some recommendations, giving you some things? If you're still collecting customer reviews through pen and paper in the restaurant, for example, how can you expose an LLM to it in an automated manner to give you some live insights and things that you need to work on? So really getting your house in order when it comes to how are you using technologies, what types of technologies are you using is the main thing. That's the first thing you need to look at when you're thinking about, okay, how can we start automating? How can we start using AI?
So what do you guys actually do then? If I came to you and I had my Excel spreadsheets and things looked good, I sort of had a bit of data in order, and I'm basically using ChatGPT a lot. What would we do? Where do we start?
Absolutely. Well, first thing, usually we don't have the answer for the business owner. The business owner is the person that is the only person that can tell us where can we start, where we can start. So it's
Yeah.
usually
Okay.
starting to ask a series of questions. It's like what are your core business activities nowadays? Just like we do this, we do that, and you start to have a conversation with them around it, right? Then usually business owners would tell them, okay, what are the three most significant operationals or workflow challenges that you guys are facing on the day to day? And they start telling us like, okay, for example, our salespeople is taking them forever to get quotes for clients. And they have to come back. We have a legacy Excel sheet that have been there for the last 12 years. They put some numbers on it. They have to come back to me to make sure that the numbers are correct. There's no issues with it, no mistakes, just because of its Excel sheet. Then they have to go back to another Excel sheet, copy and paste, turn it into a PDF, then send it to the client. Okay, interesting. So from there, we start to identify those operational challenges or the workflow challenges that those businesses have and start to identify how can we fix them. You have two ways, really. Either off-shelf software where you can go find something that works for you, but usually, honestly, from my experience, 90% of the time, they would go for a custom software because a lot of the business, they pay for 100% of that software, but they only use 5% of the software. So usually going in and actually, and that's at least the experience that people come to us for when an off-shelf solution doesn't work for them and they need to start developing their own custom software. Then we can start talking. Like, for example, that quoting solution, we can go in and first of all study how they build their quotings, how their math is, how are they getting the information from the clients, what is the workflow of a salesperson when they're talking to a potential client, right? And start to develop and design let's just call it flow chart. Okay, the client will be able the salesperson will be able to click on that button, input this information, click this button, the system will be able to generate the quote, generate the PDF, send it for a manager automatically for approval, and they can click a button there, all over there. The information will be stored in a database, and the email will be sent automatically to the client. That is how you tackle something like this.
Okay, so from what I hear from you, for a business to be ready to come to you and talk AI, they need to have a problem or three and some data that exists somewhere, and then you can work with them and help them out. Does that sound about right?
Absolutely. You have to get your house in order. You can't build a pool without having a yard first. If it's still gravel, if it's still driveway, you can't put a pool in it. You have to make it look nice. You have to put the right infrastructure. You have to have the right, everything really. And you have to make sure then you can start implementing AI.
Okay, so on that note, let's start talking tools. You've got infrastructure in place. Where do you start with tools? What's one piece of AI tech that you recommend again and again because it just works for people or businesses that are at the beginning?
So the answer that I will give is very, very mainstream. And it seems very obvious. But usually the first thing I recommend for people is just go and play with ChatGPT. That's all I'm asking. Go ask your questions, test its limits. Because a lot of the clients that come to us be like, I've tried this in ChatGPT and oh my God, it's insane. Like the type of responses is insane. How can I implement this on my business in a more automated manner? Because that's where you start getting the inspiration, right? Start putting that Excel sheet that you're using on ChatGPT and asking it for insights. The types of responses, get inspired by it. So usually that's the first thing, the easiest thing that I like people to go. And people will go and ask me, it's like, okay, how about Claude? How about, Gemini? How about this? And I'll just say, at this level, you're still exploring. The use of LLM or LLMs in general, they're usually the same. You don't really need something that is completely different. It's just really based on personality. What do you feel that this AI? Are you more comfortable with this UI or like user interface? Are you comfortable with this user interface? Are you comfortable with those types of responses? Like even within ChatGPT, there's a number of different models that gives different types of responses with different types of tasks, different types of problems, right? So it is really dependent on everyone's comfort, but just go to ChatGPT, interact with it. And the way I
So
say,
start
people, it's like,
mainstream.
okay, absolutely start mainstream. I'll tell you this. One of the main things that when people tell me like ChatGPT or this, I tell them, look at Apple. Apple is one of the biggest companies, tech companies, and they're very, very big on security. What is the AI model they chose to be able to interact directly with their phones? It's through OpenAI. You
Mm-hmm.
can use your Mac devices or your Apple devices that have Apple Intelligence, and you'll be able to reach into ChatGPT if you're not reaching into their on-device model. So this means something. This means something. Just go for it, test it out, get inspired by it.
Okay, so we've talked pretty high level so far and pretty general. Can you walk us through a recent project where you've seen AI make a clear difference?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned at the beginning, you need to get your house in order first and then start implementing AI on. We've worked with a business. Basically, their main thing is they want to make sure that companies are aligned, employees, and executives, they're all aligned when it comes to their goals. So their process was very, let's just call it scattered. They used to use surveying software, an Excel sheet for report generation, another Excel sheet for another report generation, and then when some interactions with employees, they used to review those interactions manually. So then what we did is, okay, let's unify the tech stack. Let's just make sure everything is in one place. Let's clean up the house. We created a custom software for them that basically, first of all, creates survey links for those employees. The employees are able to fill up those surveys directly on the system. Then the report generation, instead of an Excel sheet, we have it directly on the system. All the math, all the algorithm happens on the system. The system automatically creates all the life charts, the bar charts, everything just gets generated on the system. And even when the employees are giving feedback, we're talking to the system based on the new goals that are being set. Instead of a human sitting down and reviewing each and every feedback or promise made by an employee, an AI model goes there. It checks, makes sure it aligns with the new goals, and it gives live feedback to those employees. And it interacts with them to make sure that their promises aligns with the new company goals. So if you look at this process, we cleaned up the data first. We cleaned up the data collection. We cleaned up the data processing. We gave them a unified place to work on, and then started to expose AI into some data and get automated insights without allowing a human to sit down and just do that on and on and on and on.
Fantastic. So there sounds like a lot of benefits there. What part of that transformation made the biggest impact? Was it time saved? Was it cost cuts? Was it something else?
It's absolutely time savings. They're going to be able to scale up the business because the way it used to be before, you see, it's very manual, right? So the effort was very linear to to the company itself. So if it's a company of 10 employees, then it's just going to be, let's just call it 1x of effort. But if it's 100 employees, to the 10x the effort. But with the system, it's just going to allow them to scale up without the effort being linear to the amount of employees and the size of the client. So scalability, being able to scale without an issue, making sure that we are saving so much time in a lot of things, making sure that the business owners are spending time working on the business, around the business, not in the business itself, and making sure that giving the customers a much, much smoother experience, and making sure that everything, the results are consistent, no human errors within the process. So it's just all over the board improvements around efficiencies, around quality, around business growth and revenue opportunities for sure.
Okay, that's really interesting. I'm just thinking about my own business, and I wanted to run a scenario by you, just a live scenario. So,
Nice.
CJA Consulting, we provide marketing and business development services to professionals and work a lot with lawyers and law firms. And the first step we normally take is to do a 12-month business development plan. And in order to come up with that, the output of that, by the way, is a SWOT analysis and an ideal client profile. And to come up with this information, I have 3 surveys that I give to clients. So there's a marketing and business development questionnaire, which I thought would take about 15 minutes, but seems to take about 45 minutes. It's on Microsoft Forms. I've also got a Microsoft form for a SWOT analysis, and we've got another system we use to do the ideal client profile. So one challenge I've had with that is that people get halfway through and then get interrupted by a phone call, and you can't save your progress. So if you don't close a window, it's fine. But if you close a window, you have to start again, which is not great. So once they do complete it, then we get the output, and then I have to manually analyze it. What ways could AI and your services, I guess, speed up that process, make it more efficient and more accurate?
Absolutely. So you said it yourself. As I told you at the beginning, the business owner is the person that will tell us how we can make his business better. How can we automate it? You told me that, okay, with Microsoft Forms, it doesn't save progress. First thing what we do, is we create a platform, surveying platform, that we make sure it saves progress, making sure that this client has their own credentials and it saves their own progress. So when they come back, they have their progress back. That's number one check, right? Making sure that we're giving them let's just call it a cleaner user experience, seeing progress bars, giving them that sense of achievement, going through it to make sure that they're going through it and it's as smooth as possible, right? That's the first step I would go. The second thing I would go with is the analysis part. Here, the implementation of AI could be huge, right? We would train the AI model on your previous reports, the way you process your own information, because the part of your business or why people come to you, it's because you are Chris, because of the experience that you have, because of the insights that you give. So making sure that we train the AI model on your ways is very, very important when we're using AI. We don't want just use a general, LLM knowledge. We want to make sure that we're training an AI model on your business, on the way you do things. And that's one of the main things when people are asking, we want to start using AI. I come and tell them, we will train the AI model on the way you do things to make sure that it's true to your company, true to your values, true to your, unique value proposition. So what we would do is we would train the AI model on previous SWOT analysis that you provided and ideal client profiles that you provided in your style, the way you talk, the way you present. And we start to allow the AI to give us those insights from the client information. And then we would use an automated software to be able to get the insights provided by the AI model and create a branded, cleaned up report for the client where you're able to automatically send it to the client or download it, send it to them via email. That's how we would approach this.
Amazing, yes. And I obviously want to have my personal input in there and review it and make the tweaks and make sure, for me, it'd be so valuable to have a first draft that is less manual. I will use AI to do it, but I'm not using it as efficiently as I could. So certainly I think I'll come and speak to you about this, I think,
we'll talk
after this call.
We'll talk.
So I guess I've kind of alluded there to maybe in my own example, but what's one big common mistake you see when service businesses try to, and inverted commas, add AI on their own?
I would say get dragged in too many tools, right? You go online, the amount of tools that are available online right now is just insane. Let me just say it here and now, everyone in the audience, they are all the same thing. When it comes to under the hood, we call it a GPT wrapper, right? They're all interacting with the same LLMs you have access to. Either it's Llama, Claude, GPT, Gemini, DeepSeek, whatever. They're all interacting them with the right way, right? Don't get too attached to them. It's just the same thing on and on and on again. And we call it technical debt, right? With even with development debt, the more technologies you have, the more complications that you might have, the more confused, the more inefficient you would be even utilizing those. So make sure you have a very clear plan on what do you need to do and find the tools that will help you to do that. And don't get too caught up in the technology because technology moves every single hour. Don't get too caught up into it. Just have a plan, stick by, use the tools that you need. And when you need to take it to the next level, you talk to us. I'm joking.
Oh, well, I don't, you say it flippantly, but I think that's actually, I was just thinking that's exactly what you need to do. Because you talked before about building AI audit. And that is, I think, what I would need help with as a business owner and what a lot of people would be. When you start this AI audit, what's the thing you look at first when you're reviewing a client's processes?
Absolutely. So we covered on it at the beginning, right? Like, what are the most significant operational workflows that you have? The goals, the business goals, because a lot of development companies, or as I mentioned, you can get too caught up in the technology, right? So making sure that you have clear business goals is very, very important because you'll see the next shiny thing, you'll try to get it. But if you have a plan and you know where you need to go, you would know what type of technology you would use. We would know what type of implementation we would to do. So also covering on that business side of the story is very, very important for us to understand so we can write you up a plan that makes sense for you, right? Then we jump into what are the technologies are you using right now? Are you using a CRM? What type of CRM are you using? Are you using an ERP? What type of ERP are you using? Are you using anything for project management, spreadsheets, accounting tools, anything like that? We would love to know because, as you mentioned in the beginning, even those off-shelf softwares that you're using at the moment, for them to talk to each other could be a game changer for a lot of businesses. So that's something
Amen.
as well
Yeah.
that and without even the exposure of AI, like if you have a CR, if we have like the quoting tool that we're using, we want to make sure that we grab this information from the quoting tool, put it on the CRM, and the deal gets created automatically. That's a game changer for a lot of businesses, right? We look
Absolutely, it
into
is.
redundancy. Absolutely. And then we look into redundancy. Is there any redundancy within your workflows? Are you using any or are you relying on any spreadsheets and critical business processes, right? Do you have any integrations, like current integrations? Are you connecting two softwares together to talk in a specific way and you need to make it even better? Then we look into process and workflow maturity. Like, are you guys formally documented when it comes to your internal processes or not? Is there standard SOPs? All of those things are very, very important to cover the tech side of things, the business side of things, and the goal side of things. And from there, we are able to make that, connection, let's just say.
So would you use AI then to build your SOPs first?
It depends on the business. It really depends on the business because some of them they might have SOPs, but they just need to document it. They might have it in a piece of paper, and it's just like it's a printed binder with all the information. Let's digitize this so we can expose AI into it, so we can start giving recommendations to our employees how to do things like a sales playbook, an automated AI sales playbook, or an SOP AI chatbot. So all of that uncovers a lot of those opportunities for businesses depending on their goals. And as I mentioned, you don't want to get attached to the next shiny things. What is your goal? Let's try to achieve it.
So we've talked a lot about things like SOPs, internal operational things. Have you seen an example or two? Have you got an example or two where AI didn't just help the internal team, but it actually improved the client experience?
Absolutely. So if you really think about the case study that I just provided, when the clients used to get a survey, they used to get it from software one. Then the PDFs or the reports, they used to get it on email. Then the promises, they used to get it on email. So it was a very scattered tech stack. So unifying a portal for clients, for employees, for contractors and subcontractors is crucial and help their experience get elevated miles. Even even let's just say on a core level, like something that is architects or house builders, the relationships or the referral relationships they have with other shops, like a shop that does bathrooms, another shop that does kitchens, that they start referring businesses together. Having a system to track those referrals might be a game changer, for example.
Yeah. Okay. It's so many possibilities out there. If someone's listening today and thinks, okay, this all sounds great, overwhelmed, I don't know where to start, what's a simple, low risk place they can just start?
Ask yourself the first three questions I asked at the beginning. What are the most significant operational or workflow challenges you're having right now? And what are the top 2 to 3 business goals you have in the next 12 months? And ask yourself, if you want to automate something right now, what it will be. That's the first thing you need. Those are the first three things.
For me, time. For me,
Go
it's
ahead.
time. There's only one of me, and there's not enough time to do everything. So I need to find something. You're right. I need to look and see what is taking the most time. What can I then look to simplify, and what can I get help with?
Oh, that's what you should do. And we started it even with onboarding clients, getting them into the analysis. That's something that could be initially automated. Oof, instead of spending 10 hours on it, now you're spending an hour on it.
Fantastic. All right, you've sold me. I'm definitely going to come to you and speak to you after this one. So I appreciate you joining us today, Youssef. I appreciate it. Is there any last messages that you want to tell our audience? Any last tips or anything like that?
Don't get overwhelmed with the technology. Break it down into small pieces. Make sure that you have goals and get creative. Go to ChatGPT, start asking it questions, start brainstorming. That will help you know exactly what you need to do and take it step by step. Don't be afraid of technology. Embrace it. That's it.
All right. So people have done all that. They want to get in touch with you. How can they do it?
They can go on our website, Revy.agency. They can go fill out the form, get in touch with me, or they can jump on our email, info@Revy.agency as well. They can come in, Revy, REVI, and more than happy also to connect on LinkedIn, Youssef Tawfik. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you joining us today, Youssef. It's been really insightful, and you've given everybody lots of practical tips, I think. So I can just imagine everybody writing down some notes just at the moment and thinking about where their biggest issues are, where they're going to start. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Chris. Thank you.
Right, so to the audience, thank you for joining us today on Muhami Matters. So that's it for this episode. I hope you're walking away with clearer thinking and lots of practical ideas to apply in your own business, because I definitely am. Again, a big thanks to Youssef for bringing clarity to a space that's often, I say, more buzz than substance. If you really enjoyed the conversation, be sure to subscribe and share. And for more credible insights, always visit us at muhami.ee or connect with me. I'm Chris Adams. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and let's find ways for AI to work for you. Thank you for joining us on Muhami Matters. If you found today's episode valuable, subscribe and connect with me to stay updated. Join me again soon as we continue to bring you credible insights, practical strategies, and trusted advice to empower your professional journey. I'm Chris Adams. Until next time, stay informed and stay empowered.